Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it.
Hey, welcome to another episode. I hope you're all well. Today, I want to talk about imposter syndrome. I haven't talked about this for a little while, and it's something I used to talk about quite a lot. And now that I've got quite a few new listeners and a lot of you have been reaching out to me online about different things, I saw like an undercurrent, like a common theme, which was imposter syndrome. For any of you who don't really know what imposter syndrome means, it's really just fear and insecurity in ourselves. It's a massive insecurity we have in ourselves. And in our careers, it shows up a lot in a lot of different ways. And today I want to talk about those different ways, how it shows up, how you can overcome it, how you can move through it. And in essence, let you know that imposter syndrome isn't going anywhere. Whether you're the entry-level junior or the CEO, imposter syndrome exists somewhere within you. We all have imposter syndrome in different areas of our life, in parts of our career. Like, it will show up when you least expect it. And you might not even know that it's imposter syndrome. And that's why I want to talk about it. But something I do want to say, for those of you who know exactly what it is and exactly what I'm talking about, imposter syndrome doesn't make you fail. Your choice to let it be the boss does. Your choice to let it hold you hostage is what keeps you stuck and is what gives it power. Imposter syndrome exists and it isn't going anywhere. But you giving it power is what makes it win. You giving it power is why you might fail in an area of your career. You giving it power is why you haven't gone after that promotion or that pay rise that you already know you deserve. Imposter syndrome will have you believing that you're lucky that you got this job and you're waiting for someone to find you out. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm not even that good at what I do. And you're just on edge all the time thinking that someone's going to catch you out because you're not actually that good. When the whole time you're great at what you do. The whole time you're giving a company the results they want. Otherwise you wouldn't be there. Imposter syndrome will have us believing that even though we could get 20k more for our current job and the title that we currently hold, we won't go after it because we don't think we're good enough for it, even though we're currently doing that job in this current company. So you're in one company, you're doing your job, you're earning 50k. If you go to another company, you could be on 70k, but you don't go for that role because you don't think you're good enough. You think that you're lucky to have the 50k job, even though you're overworked and underpaid. I see it so often. So many women come to me and they're like, my confidence has been knocked because maybe they had a bad boss. Maybe they are constantly being told they're no good at what they do and their boss is always undermining them. Guess what? That boss is doing just enough to keep you insecure. Because if you was that bad, they would have sacked you. The reason they keep on like downplaying your work, undermining you, like embarrassing you is because that's the right amount of bullying, because that's what it is. I'm being very clear. It is the right amount of bullying to keep you feeling small. You won't leave because they've bullied you enough that you believe what they're saying. And also on top of you not leaving because you're scared if you go somewhere else, you'll be even worse, you then overwork. So now not only are you scared to leave, but you're giving them even more work than they're getting from everyone else. Why? Because they've bullied you into believing that you're not good enough and you will overwork to prove to them that you are good enough. You are trying to prove to your bully that you are good enough to be where you are. When actually, if you weren't good enough, your bully would have sacked you. Because that's all it is. It's adult bullying. That's what toxic workplaces are and toxic jobs are and toxic colleagues. They're all adult forms of adult bullying, forms of adult segregation, forms of like making you feel isolated. That's what it is. It's bullying. You can look at it however you want to look at it. As far as I'm concerned, Adele, she's going to look at it as bullying. And I don't like bullies. Never had, never will. I was bullied as a kid. for years. And then I decided when I went to high school, it stopped. Like I was bullied all through primary school. And when I got to high school, I said, you know what? It stops here. You're not going to hit me. You're not going to rip my clothes. You're not going to call me N-words and all types of things and treat me badly and get no retaliation. And then I learned how to slap someone back. I don't recommend this, guys, but I'm just letting you know. I would love a bully to try me now. High school changed everything for me. And that also is going to be the point of this episode. You can have something happen to you and it not define you. Imposter syndrome can exist within your career and it still not define who you are for the rest of your life. When I first ever really started having imposter syndrome, I never knew what that word was. I never knew what imposter syndrome was. I've learned that in the last 5-6 years. I never knew imposter syndrome was a thing. I knew that I was insecure and I had insecurities. And one of my biggest insecurities, and I've shared this with you guys before, was that I don't have a degree. I'm not even qualified in the industry that I'm in. In recruitment and human resources, I do not hold a CIPD. I do not hold any kind of recruitment qualifications. I don't hold a degree. And that was a big thing. Me not having a degree, full stop, any degree, just like not having a degree made me feel small. Being qualified was one thing, but not having that specific degree in this industry made me feel really small. So when I did change industries and I left childcare and I left working with children and I decided to go into human resources, I decided to go into recruitment, became a trainer, all those things, not having a qualification meant that I let people overwork me and underpay me. So I was getting the job titles and still on peanuts. I mean peanuts. Imagine being a manager and earning the same as someone else is somewhere else as a trainee or as just a normal worker, but you're a whole manager. That was my story, guys. I'm a whole manager. And I'm realistically getting just normal exec or entry level money. I'm not even on middle management money, realistically, guys. And when I did get to middle management money, I was I should have been on upper management money. This is what I'm talking about. Anytime I felt I should ask for more money, I would say to myself, but you're lucky. They're doing you a favor by giving you this job when you don't have a qualification. They're doing you a favor because when you first started, you didn't have that much experience. The fact that you're the manager now, big deal. I hadn't stopped to think that the fact that I'd been promoted to manager, I must have something to offer. The fact that even without qualifications, everyone who is qualified comes to me for answers. I'm the fixer. I fix everything. I make money. I save money. I do all of that without a qualification. I didn't think of it like that. I was always looking at it as the glass half full rather than the glass. Let me say that again. Because I just realized what I said. I was looking at it as the glass half empty versus the glass half full. I hate when I mix up my words, but sometimes, guys, my brain is moving faster than my mouth. You guys know that. Someone said on TikTok, she talks at the 2 times speed. We don't have to speed her up because she's already talking at the 2 times speed. You know, when you press it and it speeds up, I already talk at that level. So my brain is trying to sometimes catch up. I'm talking because all these thoughts are happening at once. I've got a million tabs open in my brain. And sometimes, I catch myself out. So I was saying, sometimes you think the glass is half empty when actually the glass is half full. And that was what was happening for me. I wasn't asking for what I deserved because I was I'm lucky to be in this room. I'm lucky to be here. And I still feel like that at times. I want you to know, imposter syndrome doesn't necessarily leave you. It's always there. Even when you get over one thing, it comes back in a new way. So you might get over the fact that you're not qualified. But then it's no one else in my family's been an entrepreneur. No one else in my family has ever earned 6 figures. So now it shows up in a new way. Who am I? The fact that I'm getting 50K, I should just be happy because no one else in my family earns 50K. So really all that I've done is I've adjusted the imposter syndrome. I've taken it from having a degree is why I should earn less. And now it's because actually I should be grateful because no one else in my family or no one else I know earns that amount of money. What? All these things are glass half empty thoughts. All these things are imposter syndrome escalating your fears and insecurities. The fear that if You go for the job that earns 70K, you won't be able to keep up, because what if they require more from you at 70K than you're required at 50? Instead of, what if some companies just pay more for exactly what you currently do? What if you go and do the 70K job and actually it's easier than your 50K job? And I say this from experience from one of my clients. She's now on 75K. She used to be on 50K. She said a 75K job's easier. And she also works slightly less hours. She used to be on a 40K week. Now she works 35 hours a week and her job's easier, she said. Because some companies just pay better. They just pay their staff really, really well to do what you currently do. There can be two people doing marketing and earning drastically different salaries. And actually, when you look at their jobs and you get to the nitty-gritty, they both do the exact same things. One doesn't do more and one doesn't do less. It's the same. Now, don't get me wrong. Leaving a company of like 1,000 people for a company of like 40,000 people or 30,000 people. I don't even know if the companies are that big. Okay, let's not over-exaggerate it all. Leaving a company with 1,000 people for a company with 5,000 people. Yes, it's going to be different. When I've worked for a small company versus a big company, I felt the difference. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I don't know anything. They speak differently. They abbreviate their words. Like the words they say, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like a Dumbo because I know nothing. My imposter syndrome got loud when that happened because I felt small. But I could do all the things that they were doing, but I just didn't know what they were talking about. Literally, the words they were using were going over my head. And I straight away was like, that's because I didn't go to uni and do the same degree. That's because I didn't do that degree. That's why I don't understand what they're talking about. And then someone said to me at work, Adele, I like the way you explain things because you make things sound so simple. And imposter syndrome said to me, that's because you're thick. That's because you're dumb. That's why you make things sound simple. But the inner critic, the one that loves me, the opposite of imposter syndrome. So whatever the opposite of imposter syndrome is, the confident Adele said, because you didn't go to uni, when people explain stuff and they explain it to you thoroughly, you are able to then re-explain it to other people in a simpler form because that's the way you wished it had been explained to you. So sometimes my colleagues will explain something to me and I'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you explain it further? They'll explain it further and I'll be like, oh, you mean X, Y, Z. They're just using the most complicated words when actually all you meant was this. Like when someone says to you, talent sourcing, that's just looking for staff. They're recruiting. They're looking for staff. They're going through databases and job boards looking for good candidates. But they'll say talent sourcing because it sounds better. Don't let that go over your head because I'm going to repeat that. They just said something because it sounds better, not because it's harder. They just use a different word. Talent sourcing is not harder than finding a candidate, finding a good candidate. Data mining is not harder because you say it like that. Data mining, finding information. Like there's an easier way to say it. Some people just want to use the hard way. And that's fine. Or some people just speak like that. That's their vocabulary. They have a wider vocab than I do. That's also fine. Having a wider vocabulary does not make someone better at their job. However, imposter syndrome will convince you that it does. Someone speaks better than you. Someone speaks really well versus how you speak. Maybe you sound really common and regular like I do. I feel like I sound really regular. And I know people that will say to me, oh, Adele, you speak really well. And then there's other people that are like, oh my gosh, you're so common. Why? Because maybe where I come from, the people I'm around. Now I can turn it on and off if I need to. I can give you the boardroom Adele's voice versus the degular Adele who talks to you on the podcast. But just know when the insecurity starts talking to you, that is imposter syndrome. Every level of your career will bring another form of imposter syndrome, whether it's about your interviews, whether it's about how much money you can negotiate, whether it's about whether you can get that promotion, whether it's about staying in a company that you know you don't like or you don't enjoy because you don't believe you're good enough to go anywhere else and you're scared that everyone else will reject you. I've had clients come to me and they've had their CV redone 4 or 5 times and I'm like, have you even sent the CV out? They're like, no, because it doesn't look good. How do you know it doesn't look good? How do you know the CV is not going to work if you've not applied? And then when we've got to the nitty gritty, they're scared to apply because they're scared of rejection because they don't think they're good enough. They don't think what's on paper is good enough. And you know what I say to them? I had a client recently who literally was like to me, no, I don't want to apply until we've worked on me answering interview questions. I was like, why? We're going to work on you getting good at interviews, but you need to have interviews to go to and use some of those interviews as practice. She was like, no, I don't feel confident enough. I'm not happy with my CV. And I was like, okay, I'm going to rewrite your CV. It's going to be done in a week. We can apply. She had a million excuses why we shouldn't apply for the job. When it came down to it, it's because you don't think you're good enough for this career change. You don't think you're good enough for what we're going for. And guess what? Every time you tell yourself not to go for it, you are saying to yourself and confirming that you aren't good enough. Do you know how you get past the I'm not good enough? You take action. Yes, you need to do the mindset. Yes, you need to work on feeling better. But part of that is taking action. Part of getting over imposter syndrome is understanding that it is not going anywhere. So you should just take it with you. Pack it up in your backpack, pack it up in your handbag, put it in your Louis Vuitton, put it in your Nike backpack, whatever it is, and take that with you. You cannot avoid or hide from imposter syndrome. It will lose its power when you move anyway. It will lose its control over you when you accept that it's not going anywhere. But you get to decide how to move through it or move with it. I don't care whether you say you want to move through it or you want to move with it. I don't actually think we ever really move all the way through it, because even when we move through it in one way, it shows up again another way. It is just like an annoying family member. There are people in your immediate family that annoy the hell out of you, but guess what? You love them and you take them with you anyway. There are people in your immediate family that frustrate you, but you don't kick them out of the family. Imposter syndrome's the same. It's an annoying family member. It's always going to be there niggling in your ear, whispering nonsense. Guess what? You need to counter it with confidence. You need to say, what if the imposter syndrome's wrong? And even if it's not wrong, I'm going to try anyway. What about that? What about even if me not having qualification makes it harder for me to change industry, doesn't make it impossible? Hard is not impossible. I'm going to try anyway. Even though I don't necessarily think I can get a higher salary, I'm scared because I don't think my skills are good enough. I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to take this imposter syndrome with me. Because you know what? When we answer the what ifs by taking action, it's never as bad as we think it's going to be. And sometimes we surprise ourselves and we end up getting everything we ever wanted. The acknowledgement that imposter syndrome doesn't vanish, but loses its control when we decide to do it anyway and not let it be our boss, is incredibly empowering. I promise you, the way you feel when you accept that this annoying family member, imposter syndrome, is not going anywhere, but I can still do the thing that I'm scared to do. You know that saying, feel the fear and do it anyway? That's literally what it is. I can doubt myself, but still apply for the job. I can doubt myself, but still show up at interview and try my hardest. I can doubt myself and still ask for the promotion and get it, by the way. Because it's not just about I can doubt myself and try. I can doubt myself and try and still do it. I doubted myself that I could change industry without any experience or qualifications. I tried anyway because that's what I wanted. Do you want it enough? I think that is a question you need to ask yourself. Are you willing to allow the doubt to be louder than your desire? Oh, guys, I just thought of that. Do you want to allow the doubt to be louder than your desire? What I want is the loudest thing in my head, the loudest thing in the room. There is always going to be, what if this, what if that? Oh my gosh, I'm scared. Me criticizing myself. Oh, you're not good enough. Oh my gosh, you made a mistake the other day. People were talking about one thing. The other day, someone was talking about one thing and I answered them and they were like, no, Del, that's not what I was talking about. I answered totally the wrong thing. Do you know how embarrassed I was? I was embarrassed for the next 3 days. They didn't know I was embarrassed for the next 3 days. I was embarrassed in that moment and they knew it. But then I was like, okay, brushed it off and carried on. But I was really embarrassed, guys, like to the next level. But guess what? It's not going to stop me answering questions. I'm going to still have more conversations in the future and I'm going to embarrass myself again. I do not like embarrassment, guys, but I'm going to embarrass myself again. Why? Because my desires, the things I want, mean that I'm going to have a lot of trial and error in life. There is a lot of things I want and they are louder than my fears. I work on them being louder than my fears. Because not only do I do the mindset work, not only do I tell myself the affirmations, not only do I write out the models and journal and do all the things that I work with my clients on to get them in a good, healthy mindset, I also take action. I do it anyway. Whatever happens, happens. And that's what I put it down to. So I want anyone listening to this to understand imposter syndrome isn't going anywhere. There are always going to be times when you feel like you're not good enough. Go for it anyway. There are always going to be times when you think, oh my gosh, let me rewrite the CV 500 times. Listen, send the CV. If the CV doesn't get any traction, relook at it then. If the CV books a few interviews, go to them. If you think your interview skills aren't great, get help and work on them, but don't use that as an excuse not to go after the things you want. Stop disqualifying yourself from opportunities that no one else has disqualified you from. You're the one saying, oh, I'm not good enough for it and I can't do it. They didn't tell you that. You didn't even apply. You didn't even go to interview yet. How do you know? Oh, I booked the interview, but you know what? I think I'm not going to go because I don't think I'm strong enough for this job. What? You booked the interview? Who told you you're not strong enough? Go for the interview. See, ask questions. Sometimes you could be a manager in one company and a director in another and doing the exact same job, because sometimes what they expect directors to do in some companies is what you're already doing as a manager, because what it is you're actually overworked where you currently are. So I want you to get out of this loop of thought of not being good enough and instead say, even if I don't feel good enough, I'm going to try anyway. I'm working on feeling better about myself, and part of that means going after the things I want, even when I'm scared. Imposter syndrome is fear. Imposter syndrome is insecurity. You can have fears and insecurities and still win in life and still win at your career. So yeah, how do you navigate through imposter syndrome? You take action. How do you navigate through imposter syndrome? You work on your mindset, you work on your confidence, you work on your belief. You start seeing the glass as half full and not half empty. I hope this has helped someone, and I can't wait to speak to you in the next episode.
I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and career. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.